Hi guys, welcome to Cinema Express. And before anything, Sanjeeta, I have to say been a big fan of your music.
Aw, thank you.
I discovered Watercolor last year, and through that, a bunch of your songs, and all this just a conspiracy for me to get to fanboy over your work.
Ah,
Uh,
thank you,
right.
dude.
Right. I'll start with this. When Danish approached both of you, with the idea of she loves me, she loves me not. What was the first thought that came into your mind? It's a very different way. He's looked at simple queer romance, but he's given it a very distinct flavor. What did you guys think of it? Yeah.
I think what I thought of it when he approached us is when I read it for the first time. It was
Hmm.
I love that it was a slice of life, love story, and that being queer was incidental to the,
Yeah.
it was not really the main attraction. It was just
Hmm.
a love story between two people, and they
Hmm.
happen to be queer. And I really love that treatment of it because I find
Yeah.
uh, Bollywood has always treated queer stories either with a very heavy hand and
Correct.
in a very
Correct.
dark manner, or caricaturized or trivialized, and made like this loud character out of queer characters. So this was like a lovely change to kind of just see a love story. Now these could have been two men, it could have been a man and a woman, it could have been two transgender people. So
Yeah,
honestly, that's what stood out to me, that it's just a love story that where both girls is, it just happens, so happens.
Right.
exactly. And for me
Yeah.
personally, this was the first time that I would actually act in long form
Hmm.
at all. And
Hmm.
so the fact that I was getting to tell such an interesting story from a perspective that is not being told on the regular or
Yeah.
usually, I thought this would be the perfect thing to begin with. And the fact, and when I actually came to know that Saba would be, my
Hmm.
partner in the film, I was like, this is amazing because we both come from the same musical background, and
Yeah.
I was just excited to be working towards something which I feel for and with somebody that I look up to. So it's great.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I also thought the basic conceit of being confused and being unable to figure out if another person is attracted to you in the same way, and by the time we learn both the characters, they sort of went down the same road, thinking in opposite ways of how the other
Yeah.
person is. And we of course get to know the story through Sanjita's angle, from Muskan's angle. Did you find this very relatable? The basic conceit of it's something that all of us at least at the starting phase of
Yeah.
approaching someone, liking someone, there's always a general sense of confusion about figuring out how the person, and often it turns out that that the other person likes you, but you in your head sort of thought of it in a different way. Could you guys connect with this?
For sure. I mean, throughout the throughout the story until the very end of the story, Muskan keeps
Yeah.
giving Tarasha cues. Oh,
Right.
dude, I'm wearing this stuff. Isn't it cute enough? Why isn't she getting it? Should I come in a rainbow outfit to like tell her that? Come on,
Right.
like look at me. So it was super relatable because even in regular, like in my own relationships, I've been this way, where I have no idea like how you feel, but I'm still gonna like flirt, and they keep flirting like on and off
Hmm.
throughout the story until the very end when you're like, oh, you too, me too. All
Right.
right, let's do this. Yeah, for sure, very relatable.
Right. So for you?
Yeah, definitely. I find the awkwardness very, very relatable. I mean, I'm
Hmm.
generally an awkward person. So, yeah, so for me, that really hit home. I was like, yeah, I've been like this, where you
Hmm.
can't say it, you really want to, but you're dropping hints. You're like doing really sweet things for the other person, hoping they get it, but you
Yeah,
don't have to verbalize it. That has happened to me in real life.
yeah,
Yeah, so for me, it was damn relatable. And I mean, I think it happens to everybody, right? I'm sure
exactly.
everyone's
I'm
had
sure
this.
it's happened to you, Shilajit.
Yeah. It has. I must say. Guys, tell me, did you guys bond over music? You guys both are musicians, and did that help? Also do the film, build the characters together.
Absolutely. I,
Absolutely.
the day we met, it was instantly like a, it was like a perfect, because we
Yeah.
both knew we're from the music scene. We both kind of like looked at each other and said, "You know me,"
I know
I
your
know you.
scene.
You know where
Yeah.
we're coming from. So that understanding was there from the beginning. So yeah, that really helped. Also, I mean, it's great fun singing with Sanjeeta. It was my fun.
Yeah, actually, the in one of the scenes before we were shooting, we were like in a car, and
Hmm.
they were faking a traffic jam, etc. And it was late into the night, and we were a little bit, delirious. We were like, okay, when is the show gonna begin? And we had this like this rather long dialogue to prepare, and both of us were like, how do we get out of this like serious zone? And we started just singing and harmonizing with each other, and I thought that was one of the most like bonding moments on set for us
Yeah, yeah,
personally. Yeah,
definitely.
it felt beautiful. And just to have somebody to sing with, it's like a sister you've been missing. It's great. Yeah.
Right. I want to talk about the scene where the Saba's character, she spins out and she goes out for a smoke, and Muskan joins her, and she does that that mental routine of having to help her ground. And I was suddenly very aware of people who deal with depression, anxiety, and it often helps to have someone there when in specific those very tricky hair trigger moments. Tell us about how was that scene? How was the mood while shooting it?
Mm, I find it was very relatable for me. So I mean, I feel like in the past 2 years, a lot of people. It's been a bit of a mental health pandemic,
Yes.
in a way. So a lot of people have suffered from anxiety, from depression. So that was very relatable to me, and especially the steps she was saying, do this, do this. So that was, yeah, definitely a relatable thing to me. And I think it's also an important scene because it, apart from the fact that we're normalizing queer love, it also normalizes mental health issues in a way,
Yeah.
That scene specifically, because it's hard to be alive at this time and not have, a sea of kind of emotions constantly, playing with you. So
Yeah.
I think that was a very important scene for me, with that aspect and that's what I feel Danish has kind of dealt with the film in a way where he's normalizing things that need to be normalized and need to be spoken about. So that's what I really loved about that scene. Yeah.
It's very relatable, that particular scene. I'm glad you brought it up because it also shows how unaware people around you
Hmm.
can be
Hmm. Hmm.
of how you are feeling on the inside. Because Tarasha is an outgoing, outspoken, person. And of course, she's, always smiling, kind of a little bit intimidating. But inside, she's vulnerable and she needs a friend more than anything. And that's what Muskan becomes to her eventually. And the fact that Muskan is there for her through this, um, I think that was their most bonding moment.
That
Uh,
seals the,
yeah.
yeah.
It seals their friendship, it seals their love. It doesn't necessarily have to be a certain way. This is another form of love, just to be there for a person when they need you most. And yeah.
Also the fact that she was vulnerable in the moment and
Hmm.
Muskan got it. The Rasha was vulnerable
Yeah.
for someone who is so like outgoing. To be vulnerable also is difficult, right? And
Yeah.
that Muskan was there for her at that moment to kind of
Yeah.
see actually who she is. She's a normal
Yeah.
person who has her own problems and has been scarred in love in the past. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was I think a bonding moment definitely for her
And
character.
in this case, Muskan becomes her strength, for a change. Even though
Yeah.
Muskan is the one who is a little more
Yes.
uh,
Yeah.
soft otherwise. Yeah.
Of course, Saba, you've done a range of wonderful acting work on film and theatre. Sanjita, how was this experience for you, and would you like to act more? Was it enriching and would it exciting for you?
Absolutely. I am so in love with this new form of expression that I'm getting to explore. Of course, music is there,
Yeah.
it's always been, and it'll always will be. But acting, I feel, is just comes sort of, I don't want to say like naturally, more like it's just another form of expression that love to indulge myself in. And the fact that I get to meet people like Saba, like Danish, like everyone else from the crew, now I have so much more appreciation for even a 10-second thing, because there's so much hard work that goes into like art direction, styling. There's like several people on set working towards this one goal, and every single person's contribution leads up to it. And there's something very wholesome about it. It's like a little band. Actually, it's like an ensemble, more like it's like a huge crew.
right? It's like a universe of its own. Like you become a family.
Absolutely.
And
You
that,
do by the end of it, yeah.
and maybe
And
it's on and there's another family on the next set, but in that moment in time, you
yeah.
become a family, and that's really lovely. I love
And
that.
that's lovely. And I can't wait to do so much more of it. And I hope this is I know this is a good beginning. And because this is with, such wonderful folks.
Right. Great. Shava, you addressed this at the start. You know how our Bollywood queer romances, they either come very heavy-handed or there's a caricaturish aspect to that. Do you think that over time, or especially now, do you think the time has come that we have more chilled out, more vibey, breezier, queer love stories where it's just a part of life, and you don't spend the first half an hour either explaining or there's a huge track with the parents and fighting all of that. Of course, there's a social aspect to that which we are still struggling with in India, but we can also have stories like this which are more breezy and more matter of factly about it.
Absolutely. I mean, the queer community also deserves their rom-coms. They also deserve light, normalized slice of
Yeah.
life stories. Why not? I mean, that should be a normal. It shouldn't
Yeah.
even be a question. And now, in a world where dialogue is kind of increased, and we're talking about the community, we're talking about bringing their stories to the fore, not in a way that it's trending and it's Pride
Yeah,
Month, doing it just because this is us, and
Yeah.
love is love, and it must be shown in all its forms. I find
Absolutely.
Western cinema, especially European cinema, has been so
yeah,
successful in showing queer love in a realistic format, and I'm really looking forward to queer love stories that actually are real. You know, I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to that. I'm so glad it's happening.
great. I'll end with this. Will you guys be collaborating on a track anytime soon? Do you think you guys would do it?
Uh,
You're going to hear something that we actually sang together very soon.
yeah,
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Great.
it's coming.
It's coming. It's coming.
Super. Super. Thank you so much, guys. I had a wonderful chat with you. I'm out of time. All the best for Feels Like Ishq. Great
Thank
talking to you.
you.